Knows Best.
Hi, friends, and welcome back to Brenna Knows Best. I'm your host, Brenna Berg. Hi, how are you guys? Happy Monday. Merry Christmas. Oh my gosh, I sat down this morning to kind of have a loose plan, and I was like, let's just have a fireside chit chat. It is Christmas week, and some people are so excited. I am a little annoyed that it's on a Wednesday. Really, Christmas, and I understand because it's religious and there's a meaning. I don't know the meaning, but it has to be on this day. But I wish it was Thanksgiving. I wish Christmas could just be on the same day every single year. And New Year's. Let's do the back-to-back situation, but let's just have it every Friday or something, because this is just freaking up everybody's week. Having Christmas Day on a Wednesday, I'm so confused. Both of my parents, which it doesn't really matter to me because I'm going to leave on Christmas Day, and we're going to talk about that. All of our Christmas plans, Christmas gifts. We're going to kind of dive into a bunch of different things. However, my dad informed me that he took the whole week off. So Monday, I think some people work Christmas Eve. I think that's a thing. It's not a federal holiday. Sorry, we're going to get a little technical here. And then Thursday, Friday, for example, I think my brother works Thursday, Friday, like most people do. And so he has to drive on Christmas Day, which is then why I chose to leave on Christmas Day. And the flights were cheaper also. However, it's kind of fricked up. Can we get a holiday change? Can we just make it every Friday, roughly whatever day that turns out to be? I know that that's not even possible because, again, the story of Christ, I'm going to be so honest with you guys. I quite literally don't know anything, and that's not a flex, and I really should take the time to understand, but I don't. He died, or he was birthed. Is it his birthday? Yeah, it's his birthday. But again, I don't even really know who that is. Ugh, Brenna. So bad. Anyways, last Christmas, you guys, because Carter's family, very religious. Carter's dad actually played a video. I might have told you this. Oh no, the podcast was not a thing this time last year. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. We're almost at a year. Also, 2025, we're going to revamp this pod. I need to sit down. This is part of my New Year's resolutions, which... Okay, next week's episode is going to be all things resolutions, getting better, my goals. I have a whole finance goals, mental health goals, physical goals, work goals, all of the things. So we're going to dive into all of that. However, last Christmas, Carter's dad, and he's a precious man, okay, he played this, not cartoon, what's that called when it's not a cartoon? It's a doll, animated, an animated YouTube video, the story of Christmas, or maybe Christ, or I don't know, because I need to want to learn these things, and I just don't have a deep want. So when things like this happen to me, or when people start talking about religion and things, I kind of zone out because I don't even know where it begins. I don't know where it ends. I don't know anything. So it's just hard for me to grasp. But we sat, all of us, in the living room and watched this animated video of the story of Christmas, maybe. I really don't know. And it didn't even have words. Did they not speak back then? I don't know. But we're sitting there, and obviously Carter was raised this very religious way, but we're watching it, and I'm just, you guys, I just don't even know, I'm watching, and then Carter taps my leg and he kind of points, and his dad is crying. His dad is so moved and so religious, which is so prash, but Carter's look, he's crying over there. And I'm oh my gosh, that's prash. But I'm and then I feel insecure. I'm I'm not that moved, but I also don't know what's going on. I don't know why I'm telling you guys this, but that's how I feel about that prash. Anywho, okay, so this Christmas, we're going to North Dakota. We leave, oh wow, on Saturday, the Saturday before you're listening. So I'm in North Dakota right now, and Maydog is coming. I was not sure if I wanted to bring her or not. And number one, I didn't even look, but I was how hard is it going to be to board her over Christmas and to have somebody watch her on Christmas? I just didn't know. And I imagined that it was going to cost a lot more. And on American, which I think they're the most expensive for the flight, or for dogs on the flight, it's $150 each way. I think the others were $100, Delta and then Southwest. But American is the only one that flies from DFW to Bismarck, North Dakota. So that's what we have to fly. Anyways, $300. I don't even think my ticket was like $500. I'm spending the same amount to fly my freaking little dog. However, we leave Saturday evening. Again, not sure why. It was probably the cheapest and I'm a frugal bitch. And then we're coming back Christmas Day. Yep. So we're going to be there Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, leave Wednesday. We're doing a Sunday night because my whole childhood, oh my gosh, this is what I wanted to talk to you guys about, like holiday traditions and how I'm having a rough time navigating this with Carter because I come from a place like we didn't do traditions like other than, oh my gosh, you guys, I was just feeling my neck. My winter necklace broke. My winter necklace. I was on the phone with my cousin last weekend talking about, well, she hadn't heard the engagement story yet. And they were going over to my aunt's house, the kids' grandma's to like bake cookies and whatever. Anyways, I was just kind of like, I put my hand on my chest, you know, like you do, kind of just like a tick. And all of a sudden my necklace was like in my hands, like the chain broke. So I either need to get that fixed or you guys, I think I'm gonna, but it's so iconic. Like I love having winter as a necklace. Like I love it. But I'm also like, should I just grow up and wear a diamond necklace or just something like a simple, it doesn't necessarily have to be diamond, but like a pendant of sorts. I don't know. I'm still deciding, but I keep forgetting like it's not even on my chest. That happened a few days ago. Anywho, back to the traditions. Okay. I come from this place where like we had a set routine. Like I was just going to tell you, we always did. Christmas Eve has my entire life been at LaDonna's house. That is what we do. So my dad's side of my family goes to LaDonna's Christmas Eve. We do dinner and gifts, and LaDonna balled out for us with gifts when we were kids. And then I believe we would go home. And there was a period of time where my dad dated a girl for like quite a few years. Her and her son lived in my home. Me and Carter were talking about this last night and he was like, babe, your childhood, to him, it's so crazy. On my scale of things, like not that crazy. Like it could have been way worse. There are a lot of people in a million times worse situations than me. Like, thank God both of my parents were like very just mature. I think that's probably the right word. Like my parents were just mature. So thankfully they weren't like acting out and being crazy. Like I think a lot of people have parents that are a little bit immature, I think is the right word I would use. But anyways, my dad had this like longish term girlfriend when I was like, I don't know, late single digits to like teenage age. And she had a son who was like probably 10 years older than me. And they lived with us. So there was a period of time, and this is why I remember it this way. She would get us gifts. Barrett doesn't do gifts. He's a dad. He's a man. He doesn't do that shit, which is like such a bad stereotype, but it's just like true. And it doesn't bother me. I don't care. He would. Wait, let me back it up. Let me give him some freaking credit. My dad is like an experienced person. So we would go to a Vikings game every single year, which is the Minnesota Vikings. Minneapolis is a 7-hour drive. We would go to a game every year. And that was kind of like our gift for birthdays, for Christmas. It was kind of all wrapped into one. Like that was our thing. We did it every single year. He got tickets from his boss because his boss was like a season ticket holder. And so like that was it. Like it was, you know, or which some of these things were kind of like necessities, but like if I needed something for like sports, like I wanted a new pair of shorts, like it would be like that was like a gift. Just like in fucking May. I don't know, whatever. Anyways, that's just how it was. But the period that this woman was in our life, she would get us gifts. So we would come home late from Christmas Eve at LaDonna's. We would open gifts that she got us, that lady. I don't know why I'm not saying her name, but I just feel like I shouldn't. It really doesn't fucking matter. It's not like a weird thing. Well, I'll tell you the story of that actually. That'll be a good story. She would do gifts for us. So we would go home, do gifts. I think we would sleep at my dad's house. And then early Christmas Day morning, we would go to my mother's house. So my dad would drop me at my mom's house and we would spend Christmas Day at my mom's. Like that was quite literally how it was every single year that I can remember, like my whole childhood. When what's her name left, not what's her name, I very much know her name, you guys. When she and my dad split and she moved out, I don't remember what that period was like. I think we just came home from LaDonna's, we would go to bed and then go to my mom. So like same, just like we wouldn't do those other gifts that the woman had gotten us. So then we would spend Christmas Day at my mom's. We would open gifts. We would do like a lunch with her and my stepdad. And that was our, like, when I think of people asking me about Christmas traditions, I think of like Elf on a Shelf or like looking at Christmas lights, which my dad did always take us during the holiday season to go look at lights. And there was like one of those like park situations at Saratoga Park where it was like you pay for a car and then you drive through and they had lights in this park. And then we would hit like the major streets. Like we would do that. But other than that, like, we didn't have these big crazy traditions like we baked this and we did this. Like that just wasn't, you know, I think when you have divorced parents, you're back and forth. And again, I feel as if maybe not with my own mother, but children of divorce who are with their mothers, like moms do more of like the baking and the traditions and that. So I feel like if maybe I was on the other end of the spectrum and maybe you out there have divorced parents and you were primarily with your mom, you might have a ton of traditions because like that's what moms do. Like moms are the best part of holidays. Like they do everything. No offense, dad, but like he didn't do shit. We would get a Christmas tree. Oh, for a long time. Is that a tradition? Yeah, I guess. See, when I think about it, but I guess I just am like, when people ask, they imagine like, when they ask like, what is your family tradition? I'm like, oh, getting a Christmas tree and looking at lights. Like everybody fucking does that like that. So I always feel like it's an awkward answer, but because, oh, I'm not sure if this is how this conversation started, but I'm going to take it there. Carter's like parents, they're so just like, again, religious and like loving and kind. So they always like try and have conversations. They're like, what were your tradition? Or like, what are your family traditions? Or like, okay, what does your family do during this time? And like, I have this busted up. I'm like, oh yeah, I go here and then I go there and then I go there, which is fine. And again, like, I don't give a shit. But when you explain that to like people that are like one household, Carter's parents quite literally just celebrated on Monday, last Monday, their 35th year anniversary, wedding anniversary. Obviously, they've been together 35 years, and which is so amazing. And I love that. But like when you talk to people like that and they're so like loving and kind of like, oh, what were your traditions? And I'm like, we didn't really have any. I feel like I'm letting them down. Like I don't care, but I feel like I'm letting them down. But anyways, I obviously want to be a person. Oh, one second. Let me hop back into a different conversation that I was saying. I was primarily with my dad. So like dads just aren't good at that sort of thing, I feel like in general. But it's funny because Carter like really wants to have traditions. And when we talk about like family, like he's like an advocate. He definitely wants me to put these things into motion. But because I don't come from that, it's going to take extra effort. Similar to decorating the apartment. Like I haven't decorated. Number one, because justifying spending money on Christmas decor is something that's really hard for me. Decor in general, you guys know our apartment is so empty. Like the only thing that's hung up is this May photo that you can see in the shot. I just have such a hard time spending money on non-essential things. And so like Carter always raves, and he doesn't do it like passive aggressively at all. Like it's coming from like the most loving, precious place, but he's always like, my mom decorates for all of the holidays and she's like an interior decorator. Like that's her thing. So it's like so amazing and so over the top and so gorgeous and so good. And like, here I am. I hung up the 2 little stockings that LaDonna sent with me. Oh, and the towels. I have like 2 Christmas and like reindeer towels out, but it does nothing to actually have. And I had a conversation with somebody that messaged me on Instagram once to like really have substantial decor, which you don't need, but to like really engulf yourself in it, you also do need quite a bit of stuff. Like you can do a little garland and a little reindeer or a little like nutcracker, but it's like to really transform a place, you kind of need to buy a lot of bullshit. And also while we live in an apartment, like to just have decor. We got back from Hawaii on December 2nd, you guys. We're only here for like 2.5 weeks. I cannot justify buying a ton of shit. Number one, buying it. But number two, then storing it for the other 11 months. And I know that's like not the correct way to think. It's about the holiday fucking spirit because it doesn't feel like Christmas. But this was also my childhood. My dad didn't decorate. We had a tree, but like that was it. Oh my gosh, have I told you guys the story about when I sleptwalk and somehow pulled the Christmas tree on top of me? I don't think I've told the story, which is not that groundbreaking, but when me and my brother were young, we both sleptwalked really fucking bad, like really, really bad. To give you a couple other instances, I multiple times remember being in the shower, and I'm telling you it like as it happened to me, and my dad, so like I'm in the shower, right? And obviously I'm not like coherent at this time, I'm sleepwalking, but like my dad opening the thing and I'm like, ah! Like I'm a young girl. Not that it's like weird in that sense, because obviously it's my dad, but like scared because I was sleepwalking into the shower, you guys. And then my clothes would be sitting on the sink. Like I would pick out my clothes. It's like 2 a.m, but I remember my dad being like, what are you doing? And I was sleepwalking. You know, he at this point lived downstairs, so like he could hear us walking. Another time, like that happened multiple times, that I went into the shower, like completely took off my clothes, got my clothes to wear to school. Like I was completely going through my morning routine, but it was like 2 a.m. My brother one time went out into the garage, which was really scary, just because like what if he had gone out onto the street, but thankfully my dad must have had that like parental sort of thing. You know how moms, like, for example, you guys, with Maydog, like this dog makes a noise and I'm up. I used to be the deepest, biggest sleeper ever. Not a thing would wake me up. And then ever since I started owning Maydog, like anything she does wakes me up. And I think it's like a maternal instinct. I think when you have children, which obviously May is not my child, that's not what I'm saying, but like it really is this thing your body just knows, like you care for this being. So like how you wake up immediately, I think moms, if you're a mom, that's a thing. Anywho, my dad must have had that. So, and like our house was really creaky. Like he was downstairs, like you could definitely, oh my God, my dad would be like, thunder thighs, quit like pounding on the ground, which to a lot of you could be like, oh my God, he said that to a young girl, which is like so funny. And yes, I remember it. It wasn't really that hurtful. Like he more so was joking that I would like stomp my feet on the ground, but like, yeah, that's crazy. I remember telling Carter that once and he was like, he called you thunder thighs. I'm like, oh, that's not even that bad. But they're all jokes. Okay. Anyways, I'm going so off topic. However, okay. My brother went out into the garage, and of course, like he's not aware of where he is. And my dad like opened the garage door and is like, Brandon, what are you doing? And my brother's standing in there. At this point, there wasn't a car in the garage, and he's standing there. He's like, I'm getting water. My dad's like, what the fuck do you mean you're getting? Okay, my dad doesn't swear really. I need to quit doing that. He's like, what do you mean you're getting water? And he's like pointing like clearly. And my dad like, went up to him and shook him and woke him up. But like both of us, I think my brother also slept walk into the shower. Anywho, so like, I don't know. That was like a period of time. We never did it at the same time. Oh, my brother also, you guys, would sleep talk and sleep with his eyes open. I shit you not. One time we were at the racetrack and he was sick. And he quite literally, I don't know how, fell asleep at the racetrack, like on the bleachers. We're like way up top. And we used to sit with these people. But he fell asleep, but his eyes were kind of open. And that just like happened sometime. But I remember this little girl who was part of this family that sat next to us. She kept going, he's peeking. He's peeking. Like she did not think that he was sleeping, but he was like totally sleeping. Yeah, that's so weird. My dad said we would like talk to each other in our sleep sometimes. Isn't that so freaky? Because we had bunk beds for a really long time. Oh, this is what I was talking to Carter about last night. That like this woman and her son lived with us. And the son was older than us. Like I think he was like 10 years older than me and like, 8, 7, 6 years older than Brandon. I don't quite remember. But he got his own room. And at the time when we were children, the downstairs, it's never been finished in our house. So we only have a 2-bed, 1-bath upstairs, right? 1 bath period. But then once he started dating this girl, he converted downstairs. He kind of put up like wood poles and kind of finished, like half finished a wall to make a room downstairs for the son to live because he was older. He was like a teenager at that point. So like it made sense, but that meant me and Brandon were bunked up. So we were bunked up for a long time. However, back to the story at hand. One time, okay, Christmas, we had a real tree. And my dad never believed in like faux trees. So we would go to the lawn and pick out a tree and whatever. Well, all of a sudden, I wake up. Okay, and I'm a young gal. And I'm on the couch. First of all, I went to bed in my bed. I wake up, I'm on the couch. The Christmas tree is on top of me. Because you guys, our house was like not that big. So you walk into, let me paint the picture, and maybe I'll show you pictures because we're going to stay there when we go home. I'm so excited for Carter to see it. Anywho, other side tangent. But you walk in, our front door just leads right into the living room. Okay. So you walk in and it's obviously like a square to some sort, like up and to the left goes to the 2 rooms and the bathroom. And then to the right goes to the kitchen, but it's like a square. And so you walk in and there's a couch on the right wall and a couch on the left wall. So like a 3-person seating over here and then a 2 on this wall. And then we would have the TV adjacent to the room or wall that you would walk in the front door. So like when you walk in the front door, the opposite wall straight ahead was the TV. So the only place we could put a Christmas tree was here on the wall that had the door. So our entrance door, oh my God, is this so confusing, was situated to the right of that wall. So when you walk in, you're kind of alongside this right wall. And then so to the left, facing the front of a house, the front, oh my fuck. You guys, I'm so sorry. This is probably so confusing. The wall that you see from the outside of the house obviously had a window. So this is the wall that has our front door. And then to the left of the door, there's a window. So the Christmas tree went there because then on the wall next to that is a couch. Then there's the TV and then there's a couch on the other wall. Are you following? So this one couch that's closest to the Christmas tree is the long one. So I woke up on that couch, the tree on top of me, tipped over on fucking top of me. And all I remember is my dad coming upstairs. Oh my gosh. Yeah, because he then, oh my gosh, it's all coming back to me. When that girl moved out and her son, my dad then lived downstairs and me and my brother split the 2 bedrooms up top. So he comes upstairs. He's like, oh my gosh. Like, I just remember him, like, that's what kind of jolted me. Like, I don't know how long the Christmas tree had been on me. Also, you know how real Christmas trees, they sit in that thing full of water, obviously, like the stand. So like water is spilled. Now there's like the pines. What are the things on the tree? You know, the little green, like the needles all over, like it is on top of me, you guys. So like stuck to me all over the fucking ground. Like my dad wasn't mad at me, but it was just like very overwhelming. Like he tipped it up. I remember having to take a bath and it's like, again, 2 a.m. at this point, and all of the needles are just like floating around because they were like stuck to me at this point. So like I had to like clean them off. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. I forgot about all of that. Anywho, let's get into something else. So that's Christmas. The only gift that I've gotten is, number one, my mom asked me specifically for a Keurig cup holder, like or the pods, you know, the little K cups that make the coffee. She doesn't have anything to hold them, and she kind of has the boxes like thrown across the countertop. She was like, I would love one of those. So that's what I got her. And then I'm not getting my dad anything. I don't think I'm getting Gordy anything. I'm not getting Carter anything. And me and my brother also said we're not doing gifts. But I did get LaDonna super cheap off of Etsy, but I'm so excited. A custom bookmark, because they just moved into this house and she's hating the fucking clutter. You know, like they just moved. It's way smaller. I don't want to get her more garbage. It's just going to fill up her house. So I'm like, what's something that's like personal? Because grandmas love that shit. And like something she'd use. I'm like, oh my gosh. The other day we were on the phone and she was talking about how her bookmark was in a book, but she couldn't remember if she read it or not. And it's The Boyfriend by Frida McFadden. And that was like, oh my gosh, it ding, 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 ding in my head. I'm like, I'm going to get her a bookmark. So I go on Etsy and I find they're like these acrylic little bookmarks. You put 3 photos, and I that day had just received our couple's photos of me, Carter, and May. And I got them back so then I could go to Etsy and you just send them the photos in square format. So I just picked 3 of them with the 3 of us. And then at the top, it says, we love you. And then I put our names at the bottom, and I just got it. And it's the cutest little thing. And so that's that. Those are my gifts that I'm getting other people. Carter was asking me what I wanted. I was like, babe, like, let's not do gifts. Like, we just like don't need to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, why? But then right? He's asking, he's hinting. He's like, what about, something like a workout set or like this? Well, the other day he pulled up his phone and he pulled up his email and there was a Lululemon receipt and he was being fishy earlier. He was getting a few gifts for his parents. And so he was like kind of looking, browsing on the couch, and then he kind of shifted away. And I think that's when he ordered, because that night I saw them. And if he ordered something, he would have told me about it. So I think he's getting me a Lululemon set. However, here are my thoughts. We went last weekend. So Carter had a dinner on Friday. Saturday, we did Christmas lights. So we went to dinner at Son of a Butcher in Lower Greenville in Dallas. If you know, you know. And then we went to Starbucks, got a hot chocolate, because we did this last year. This is one of our traditions that we're starting. And in Highland Park, you guys, Highland Park, Texas is in the middle of Dallas, Texas. Like, it is like this little suburb in the middle of Dallas. Like, if you look up Dallas, Texas, there's like this little blob in the middle of it that's like sketched out because it's its own municipality. Okay. It's the bougie fucking rich people, and their Christmas lights are insane. They pay tens of thousands of dollars for Christmas lights. I'm not kidding you. Tens of thousands of dollars. What? It's crazy. It's crazy. But the number one, the houses are insane. Like, I just love to walk through Highland Park. But number two, the lights, like, insane. Okay, so we go to Starbucks, we get our drinks, and then we go and drive around to like all of our favorite streets, and we're trying to like map out, and look around. It was amazing. It was fun. We get back home, we go to bed, and then Sunday, you guys, Carter worked basically all weekend. Like, all of Saturday he worked. I didn't see him Friday. He went straight from work to the dinner, and it was up in Frisco. I didn't see him. He came in when I was sleeping, which I think it was only like 10 or 11, but I was sleeping. And then Sunday, Nanny Fam, the little girl had her like Christmas recital, which it wasn't a recital at all. They do this every year. And my best friend Natalie, her group does it too at North Park Mall, which is like our bougie mall. They do just like tons of stuff during the holiday season. They have like symphonies, and they have a piano player, and they have like all of these performances and carolers. And like, is that what you call them? Carolers? People who carol? Christmas carols? I don't know. And anyways, Nanny girl had her Christmas performance. So they're like, it's at 1:15 on Sunday if you want to come. So obviously I was going to go. I just wasn't sure if Carter was going to be able to break free. So he worked all morning, and then he's like, yeah, this will be a good break. And then maybe we can go Christmas shop after, since we're at the mall. So we go, we meet up with Nanny Fam. We watch, she had 3 dances. We say goodbye to them. And he's like, babe, can we go to Williams-Sonoma? Let's go look at espresso machines. And Carter's new thing has been an espresso machine. And here's the thing. Carter's not a coffee person. So I'm not really sure. Again, Carter is so fucking bougie. So I think it's more so like he wants like I know he wants to be able to make shots of coffee because he's an efficient person. He's not like I'm going to enjoy coffee. It is for the purpose of caffeination. Like, I've been making him coffees in the morning because I got creamer again, and he just downs it. Like, it's not for enjoyment. It's for efficiency, like I just said. So he really wants to be able to make espresso shots like before the gym instead of pre-workout. But I'm like, the Nespresso makes espresso shots, which I'm with him. Like, the Nespresso is not my favorite thing in the world. It's not like the best coffee ever. I would love to have a coffee machine one day, but it's just like not a super big priority right now since we have the espresso or Nespresso. And anyways, all of the sudden we're in Williams-Sonoma and we're talking to a rep, a salesperson, about the Barista Breville Touch, $700. And he's like, do you want to get it? I'm like, what are you talking about? We're not making a $700 purchase just like that. Like, can we go home and review? Like, we don't even know how to fucking use this machine. But Carter is a person, and I used to be this way too. Like, once you talk to a sales associate, like, you feel like you need to buy something, which like, a smaller purchase I'll do, just because you feel like you should. But like a big purchase, I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And thankfully it was Sunday, like a Christmas or a weekend before Christmas. So the mall was packed. So like our person got distracted. I'm like, babe, let me go home. Let me do research. And then like, let's just think on it. And one of my New Year's resolutions, which I'm going to talk to you guys about next week, is like waiting 3 days before making a non-essential purchase, especially this fucking big of a purchase. So anyways, he's on this Nespresso grind, and I was doing some research, and some people were saying to get a smaller machine and then a grinder. So I'm gonna look at cost, and if he gets me a Lululemon set, which I think he got me something, so now I feel obligated. So I'm thinking I might get him an espresso machine, but I don't know. It just depends on cost and like what else I Google. I really need to dive deep, but I've had so many things. I don't know if it's the end of the year. I don't know if it's the holidays, but I have so many things like rolling in my head at all times that I need to be like doing or Googling or emailing. And I need to figure that out. I need to like get my shit in order. So like every time, this morning, for example, Carter and I had a conversation last night about we're laying there and I don't remember what we were talking about in the moment, but it was like quiet. And then all of a sudden he's like, so we should like really, we're engaged. Like we should talk about it. And I'm like, talk about what? And he's like, what are we doing? And I'm like, I try. No, I don't. I was like, we have kind of talked about it, but I'm like, I never know when to bring it up because he's been so busy with work. And not that he's ever like pushed me off, but again, it's just like he comes home, we want to decompress. Like I don't want to just jump into like planning something. And so last night we talked about it and he really wants to do, I told you last week, a Christmas wintry thing, which I think I'm going to hijack that conversation because I was thinking about it. I'm like, what are we going to do though during the day? He really wants to stay at this certain lodge that we saw in Deer Valley or Park City, which I love and it's amazing. But I'm like, number one, it's going to be expensive. Number two, and so we decided last night, I'm like, babe, so you said winter. Okay, let's keep that rolling. This winter, as in January, February, March, potentially April, or like next winter. I'm like, what's your opinion? I was like, I'll give you mine after you say it. And he's like, he was like, I really don't want, I would love to do it this winter if we could. Like next winter for what? He's like, to be engaged for a year. I'm like, number one, that's comical that you think being engaged for a year is a long time because that's like minimum, for people who like plan a wedding. But I agree. I'm like, no, totally. I'm with you. What's the point? Like we're going to be engaged for a year when we're just going to go to elope and like do a quick little trip. There's no need. You know what I mean? So we're in the same boat there, but I'm like, but snow is only in this place till March, maybe April. So I was like Googling, I was like, is it there April? So I could take a shot just because like we need to, then I'm like, babe, we need to get wedding bands. Do we want a photographer? He really wants it. He's like, we need to like do vows and stuff. He's like, we need to do something special, which I wouldn't want the photographer there for that because I'm like, that wasn't even like crossing my mind. I was like, we'll just do like a dinner. And he's like, no, we need to do something significant. I'm like, what does that even mean? And he's like say vows or whatever. So I don't know if we'll find a spot. I don't know. But I need to start doing research on that. But I was looking at like Cabo or Costa Rica. I need to get clear with him. Because I got there. Because I'm like, what are we going to do during the day in Park City? Like, okay, walk. If it's cold, like what really do we do? I just feel like at the very least, if we were in a warm place, like beach and like, I don't know, water stuff potentially. I don't know. We'll see. So that's our loose plan. But yeah, last night he was just like, we need to talk about it. I'm like, what are we talking about? Oh my gosh. Also, you guys, which I cannot say a damn thing, but we have to deal with like a crazy person in our life. Quite literally, we have to, unfortunately. Well, I stay out of it, but there are so many things behind the scenes that I wish I could tell you that I can't. I cannot because it's just like it would not end well. But that's how this conversation started because we were talking about another topic and oh my gosh, I so badly, one day we'll get there where everything is calm and then I can air my grievances. But just know that like my life isn't all perfect, dandy, and wonderful. I've expressed to you, even my own family, like there's just like so much shit that I'm just like, honestly, I'm excited for the holidays to just be over. I just want to go back to normal life and here in Dallas in my routine and that's it. So that's all I'm going to say on that. Okay. What else? 2 nights ago. Okay. I was on live yesterday and I was telling them about this dream that I had. So 2 nights ago, we watched on YouTube. Okay, we were scrolling, and then this video came up, and it was like Fear Factor reruns, and it was like the most scary, like Fear Factor things. If you don't know what Fear Factor is, I'm sorry, you're too young to be listening to this podcast. Fear Factor was a show back when I was a kid on E. No, not E. I could see the little thing. It was like yellow TNT. I have no fucking clue. It doesn't really matter. Where couples or like, I think even siblings, like teams. It was two people would go to the set, which I think was in Los Angeles, and they did these crazy fucking challenges. Like they would be sitting with scorpions, or they would have to like eat worms, or like they would have to like, it was like the most heinous shit. Oh my God. They would put them in water in a box, and they would have to like find keys and get themselves out. Like very dangerous challenges. Okay. And the winners must have won like a ton of money. I don't quite remember. Did you guys know, for those that watched that show, the host of Fear Factor was Joe Rogan? Did you know that? Yes or no? Joe Rogan was the host of Fear Factor. What? I know nothing about, like, Joe Rogan became a character that I had heard of maybe in 2020. Like, I did not know who Joe Rogan was before, like a couple years ago. Not that I know him now. However, I was watching this. I was like, oh my God, that's Joe Rogan. So like he had this whole, obviously his career started somewhere, but I was so fascinated. I was like, this man, like I watched him every single week when Fear Factor was on, but I never correlated that Joe Rogan, it was him. Oh my gosh, insane. I don't know why that has me so shook, but I'm like, that's so crazy. I had no idea. All I know is Joe Rogan, the podcaster, obviously. I don't know about anything he did before, but it was so funny seeing him. I'm like, oh my God. Besides that, we go to bed. Okay, so we watch this quick little, well, actually it was like 20 or 30 minutes. And then we go to bed and I wake up and I quite literally had a dream, you guys, that Carter's dad was Joe Rogan. Okay, so in my dream, what I can remember is us sitting at a table and his mom was there. I don't know if it was his mom or another lady. Like I never quite got a good look at her because that's not what I was focusing on. I was sitting there and in my head, in my dream, I'm like, how has Carter not been spotted and this hasn't been blasted all over the news that his dad is Joe Rogan? Like in my dream, you know, when you have like a grasp of your real life, but then you're also in this fake life, I'm like, how has nobody put that together? Like people have had to see us out. And then I was thinking to myself, and I think I got him and Andrew Huberman confused because I was like, I've always said that Carter's dad is a doctor and he is, but I just never specified, which Joe Rogan is not a doctor. Again, you know, when the things aren't really clicking or firing in your brain. I think I was thinking of Andrew Huberman because like that wouldn't have been a lie. Like his dad's a doctor, but it's low-key Andrew Huberman, but it was Joe Rogan. I was like in this fucking, and then at the same time, I'm like, why have I never, like it was just hitting me that his dad was Joe Rogan. I'm like, wait, like I didn't even process that. So I wake up and I'm like, oh my fucking God, I thought Carter's dad was Joe Rogan. It was like the weirdest thing. We were at dinner and like I don't remember talking to him or anything, but I remember having this dialogue in my head mainly about me and like how you guys just didn't know that his dad was Joe Rogan. It was the craziest shit that I've ever experienced. Okay, moving right along. Oh, I have been dying to talk to you guys about this because you guys are the only ones who understand me. And you probably didn't even see it. And that's the thing also, like, although something can get a lot of views, like things go by so quickly on the internet, and really it only has like 250,000 views at the time. I made a TikTok the other day because I had seen a few New York City influencers crying about the potential TikTok ban. And these are like Lux people and like people that make a fuck ton of money, begging for their followers to follow them on Instagram, which we'll get into it. But looking at that, I'm like, this is exactly why people hate fucking influencers, because you're sitting on here crying about TikTok being banned when you can just hop to another app, when you should have more than enough money. I get it. And again, this is where you post about something online. And again, I never really fully think through what I post on TikTok. So that's my bad. Like I have so many thoughts constantly swarming around in my head, and like what comes out is what comes out. And you're never going to say every single detail, but I made this video. Right now, I'm like, if I see one more goddamn influencer crying about like these big influencers, right, that also have a following on Instagram that are still going to make a fuck ton of money. Again, I didn't say like, I don't remember exactly what I said, and I'm not pulling it up because like I can only imagine what the comment section looks like because I briefly see them, which I'll also talk about. I'm like, if I see one more goddamn influencers like that, like these rich, like New York City people who are going to be just fine, crying, begging for followers. Like, I'm going to lose my goddamn mind. It's embarrassing. It is embarrassing. And this is exactly why people hate influencers, because meanwhile, these people get on these apps, are like enjoying entertainment from their favorite influencers. But like, this is exactly why people say influencers are out of touch and whatever. And I do not agree with that sentiment. Like, I don't see people or like influencers, and I know the work that goes into it, obviously. I am a content creator, which even though I don't make like normal lifestyle content, they do more than me. 1000%. Like the editing and stuff that some people do, that's not who I'm talking about. And again, I couldn't clarify all of this, and it was just like a quick hot take. And I was just expressed like, I can't. This is why people fucking hate influencers. I didn't say this in the video, but I should have, because you're getting on here crying when you can make one TikTok video for thousands of dollars, and that's quite literally somebody's monthly income. And like, when you can just hop on to Instagram, when you could just get a fucking job, like be so ferociously fucking for real. However, all of the sudden it started popping off, and like obviously most like people were agreeing, because like, well, and the sentiment of my video, I said, why do you get onto TikTok to cry to these people? Like the people that use this app for entertainment, they don't give a shit that you're losing your thousands. Like realistically, like people don't care. People do not care. Cry to your friends and family. And again, I didn't say this, but like talk to people in your real life. I understand it's losing a job per se, and like two smaller creators, and this is where everybody goes so fucking crazy. You guys, I just have to like sit in these thoughts, because the second you start responding to like people and trying to clarify, you never win. So I just am like accepting that people are going to take what they take from that video, and like that's fine. If I'm misunderstood, that's okay. Like that's just a part of being online. And this is the bummer about like, I love like just spitting out my takes on things. But again, I don't like fully like talk through. And I also often know, like I knew when I posted that video that I thought for sure, like if big creators saw it, they would be annoyed and be like, oh my gosh, but I don't give a fuck about what these other influencers think of me. I don't give a shit what creators think of me. And if it fits you, like if the shoe fits, if you're a huge influencer and you're going to be just fine, but you're on this app crying to these people who quite literally make maybe $30,000 a year, $40,000 a year. Like that is so crazy. Like why? Talk to people in your real life. Talk to people in your real life about this issue. But then people spun in. They're like, small creators, small businesses, musicians, like this app has so much exposure. Total. I know that. I am not dumb. That's the problem. It's insulting the fuck out of my intelligence. No shit. That's not who I was talking about. That's not who I was talking about. Stay-at-home parents that can make a little extra income. Yes, I understand them being sad. That's not who I was talking about. Oh, and like a lot of people would chomp back and like start explaining, but you can't. It's a losing game on this fucking app. But you can imagine in my head, like, and the people that get it. And like a lot of people that are just viewers are like, preach, thank you. Because this is exactly why people hate influencers, because it's similar to that Michaela, like makeup bitch who came on and was like, you don't know how hard influencing is. Regardless, like maybe she does, like I believe she probably does a ton behind the scenes. It's like, it really is and can be for these big creators, like a lot of fucking work. Again, you're never going to win that battle with somebody. Like, just don't say it. I'm under the belief that like, I do love the transparency that there is now within influencing. Like I like that TikTok is like a super, like people express real things and it's very transparent. But I do think that there is a certain level, like the people that follow you that live normal fucking lives, they don't want to hear you say that influencing is hard, because it's not hard, right? Gaining a following, like yes, you're filming videos and you're doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes, but that is not hard work. Again, think whatever you want, but like it was like that, like people started a semi big creator I saw, and I haven't gone on and like gone through the comments because that's just like asking for it. That is going to get me to bite back and I don't want to do that. But when I go into my notifications on TikTok, I see like the most recent, and there was this one girl who has like 250, because I clicked on her profile. I maybe used to see her face back in the day. I don't really know what her thing is, but she was like, stop shaming girls for Like, social media is a real job. Like, stop shaming this field or like whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I quite literally didn't even say that. I quite literally said nothing about the job. I just said, don't come on this app and cry to these people that you're losing your job where you're making thousands and thousands of dollars. They're not going to feel bad for you. Because I can see things from different perspectives. But of course, people just like, I bet that girl had just been on crying about it. So I understand like they're coming from this place of like, oh, but it's like, just take 1 second to like see outside of yourself. And my problem with, and it was a few select influencers that I saw that like either come from money or they have Instagram followings that are going to be just fine. Again, it's like, you can still be sad. Oh, and that was the other thing that people were like, they can be upset, like defending, like, and again, I think they were thinking like smaller creators or like stay-at-home moms. And like, again, that's not who I was talking about. That's not who I was talking about. But again, you have to understand, if you're ever thinking about like doing social media, whatever, maybe don't give your hot takes. I just like to, because I feel like the people that get me, and it helps you guys see like my real personality. But it does stink because now I'm to this place, and I think all content creators and people that are online, you immediately, like when I post something, I'm already thinking about like the negative, like how somebody could view it negatively. So I feel like now I'm not as authentic as I used to be, because I know exactly where people can take things, and it kind of just like ruins it. So I really try and say like, that is something that I would say, like, quit fucking coming on this app when you're a huge creator crying to these people. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. A lot of people are like cheering. They're like, make the influencers get real jobs, which I don't believe in that either. Like, I think it's a wonderful thing. It's a lot of women in this field. Like, again, I don't need to explain this to you guys, but I needed to get this off my chest. I was going off to Carter and he was like, please don't give a shit about what like idiots on the internet are saying. And I'm like, no, you're right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I just wanted to discuss with you guys. And if anybody saw that and was like, Brenna, that's on the bad take. Oh my God, that's my favorite comment. They're like, this is not the vibe. Or like, this was a really bad take. Oh, or people, and not just on this video, would be like, I normally agree with you, but this one is not it. It's like, we are human beings. Like, if you agree with everything I say, that's not good. And this is why I think oftentimes people turn on influencers. It's like, you see content creators say and speak on so many things. Like, you guys, if you listen to this podcast every week, you have listened to hours and hours and hours of my dialogue. Like, within that amount, you probably don't even talk to, I don't even talk to my friends as much as like you could potentially be hearing me. So when you see an influencer and let's say you watch somebody's content and then you listen to your pod, there's going to be something that they say that you don't agree with, or like they're just going to say something that like was a one-off, whatever. And this is why I think people turn on them, because you are consuming so much of somebody. Like, if I were to sit and look back on hours of you talking to friends, because that's what this is. Like, it's like I'm talking to my friends, and that's how it is on TikTok. I would hear you say something maybe hypocritical or like something not the best. Like, that's just what it is. But for whatever reason, we forget that like we're seeing so much of somebody. Oh my God, think about your own family. Like, my family says the craziest shit. Carter says the craziest shit. Like, that is just real life. But we just hold like content creators in this weird light. So it's like, yeah, of course there are going to be things that you don't agree with me on. Like, that's good. Like, we should not be agreeing on every single thing. But people can't, like, I think it goes also for like politics and how we've gotten so divided. Like, for whatever reason, people now like see one bad thing and it's like, oh, they said this one time, and like people just hold on to that, and it's so bad. It's so toxic, but I digress. Okay, you guys, let's get into the freaking conversation. I have 2 questions that I'm going to go over. One that I got in an AMA that I think is really good. Okay, but before that, let's talk about the books. One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware. I quite literally think I started this last week and told you about it. I'm only like a fourth of the way through. I'm loving it, but I just haven't been reading as much as normal. I'm really tired at the end of the day. I don't really know, but loving it so far. The set, or like the plot, is like this couple, we're following along with a girl whose partner, her boyfriend of like 2-ish years, is trying to be an actor, and he got offered to be on a reality TV show, but it's like a couples, kind of like Love Island, kind of like The Bachelor, and they talk about it in there. So this must be like a recent book because it's like with the times. And she's going on and she's like a scientist. So I think Ruth Ware is like typically a thriller mystery. So obviously something bad is going to happen, but it's like a cool setting. I like it. So they just got flown onto an island and they're like starting like being on this reality TV show. So that's what it's about. I'm 25% of the way in. I should finish it hopefully by next week when I talk to you guys next. Product of the week. I've talked about this on Instagram. Lumi Glotion. You guys, this Lumi Glotion by, is it L'Oreal? True Match Lumi Glotion, I believe. I got it on Amazon. You can obviously get it at Target, CVS, whatever. It's basically, I think it's a dupe essentially for Charlotte Tilbury's Flawless Filter. I put it on underneath my foundation. The glow is insane. I actually, the other day when we went to watch Nanny Girl at the mall, I mixed the Lumi Glotion with my tinted moisturizer and put it on. So it was just like this glowy, like skin tint. Perfection. Loving it. I need to buy like multiple just in case something were to happen. I have like the light one. I don't know if it's a number or whatever. I've posted it. I'll have it under my links on my Instagram. Highly recommend. I've been loving it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited every day to put on my Lumi Glotion. I think you could use it by yourself. Like I'm thinking next summer, if I just do, sunscreen and then put that on, perfection. Gorgina. Okay. Things that I've watched this week. This is going to be a really long fucking episode, but I watched The Ultimatum, and I don't think The Ultimatum gets as much hype as Love is Blind, and I'm not sure why that is. It's so fascinating, you guys. Basically, if you don't know what it is, which I'm sure most of you do, they bring on, I think, 5 couples. So 10 people, maybe 12, maybe 6 couples. I don't remember. But why they're there is because one of them gave the other partner an ultimatum of marry me or like propose or we're done. So the couples are coming on. One person in the couple, and it's not always like the girl giving the guy the ultimatum. It's guys giving the girl the ultimatum. One of them wants to get engaged and married, but the other one is dragging their feet. So they come on to this show. Okay. They then get split up. Their partner is now technically their ex, which like, obviously it's not real, but like it is, whatever. They then date the other people. And mind you, the other people in this group are either somebody who was given the ultimatum that's like dragging their feet. And like every single instance, you guys, that person just like doesn't want to be in the relationship. Like you will never have to give the love of your life an ultimatum. Like if you're listening to me tell you this, like how it's run, I scoff every time. I'm like, this is so fucking stupid because like they would want to get married, but I digress. Just to give you an idea of the headspace that these people are in. And obviously they come on to like get popular. Like things aren't just like authentic anymore at all when it comes to reality TV. It never was, but you know what I'm saying? But they go on to date the other, people in the group, and then they pair up. They pick a favorite. So they date for like maybe a day or 2 or 3. I don't remember. And then they do like this trial marriage with the new partner, somebody they quite literally just met 2 days ago that they decided on. So as you can imagine, like some of them are super hesitant. Like the people that are there that want to marry their partner, like they don't fucking want, they came on the show, but like they're not trying to like get sexual, but some of them like really just don't, like they're with the wrong people. I'm not going to say anybody's bad. And like, I haven't seen a lot of discourse on this, but I do often see like people get hated on. And like, for example, there was this guy, Nick, who he deals with like substance and alcohol abuse, which is so sad, but I love seeing it. Like, I think it's just like a real, like things like Love is Blind, like these shows, not really The Bachelor, but like The Ultimatum. I love seeing real people because I think it's like very relatable. Like the guy Nick, like substance and alcohol abuse is like a real issue, and people have been in relationships with people with substance and alcohol abuse issues. And so I think it's just like super relatable. Like I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he has a lot of issues. So I hope that like he doesn't get hate, which I haven't been looking for like on their pages. I haven't really looked, but I see people similar to Love is Blind. That girl Hannah, the blonde one, is getting so much hate for how she treated Nick. But I'm like, when you're with the wrong person, your ugliness just comes out. I never think that somebody is a bad person unless they've done like truly horrible things, like abuse and like really bad. We don't need to go there, but I also do, like, I understand that they are human beings who are probably brought up in a certain way. Like, it just sucks. I don't think people are innately bad. I think we are all just like traumatized by our childhood and things that have happened to us. So I just think it's always so fascinating to see people. But like these couples, it's like so cliche. It's like, okay, you know, on one, there's like a guy who wants to propose and the girl was just not in it. And like she, you know, you could just see the signs. Like I've been in relationships, I like, oh, she just like is with the wrong person. Like that's it. They're just like with the wrong people. But then they do these trial marriages and they kind of commingle. Like they'll have like guys' night. So then there's like drama and stuff, which like a lot of it is blown up. And then they do a reunion. I don't know. It's like not the best thing. I do fast forward through a lot, but I find it so fascinating. Just like real humans, like talking about relationships and like seeing it clear as day. Like when you look at these people, you're like, you're with the wrong person. But I bet a lot of us can see ourselves in them. And it's like, once you're in it, you like try and make it work and you're begging this person or you're like, I'm just not ready. And like, really, that's how you're feeling in the moment. And you're so blinded by love. And after years of being with somebody, you love that person. But that still doesn't make them right for you. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, you just want to shake them. But like, we've all been in like one of these relationship dynamics, whether we're begging our partner or we're the ones that are like standoffish. And it's like, oh, when you're outside of it, you see it clear as day. You're like, none of these people should be together. You know what I mean? But it's like, we've all been there and it's sad, but it's also so eye-opening. You know what I mean? I love that shit. Obviously, that's why I have freaking social medias talking about relationships. This shit just like gets me going. Okay, but that's all I've really watched. Honestly, me and Carter have been having such a hard time finding things to watch on Netflix, on Hulu. We just click. But yeah, okay, let's get into your guys' questions. I only have 2. And then that'll be it. Okay, let's get into the questions, shall we? A little behind the scenes, you guys, to match up the video and the audio, I clap. That way when I start, like when I edit on iMovie, I can line them up. It's like a little hack, but every time I do, May is like jolted awake because she sits right down beside me. Here on the floor. You can't see her. I thought you'd be able to see her. But anyways, just a little behind the scenes. Okay, this one first, we're going to do the email submission and then I'm going to tell you about the next one because I asked for more info on my Ask Me Anything Tuesday. I said this would be a great freaking topic. Let's get into it. Hi, SOS. I was just on your TikTok live and wanted to submit my breakup story for your advice. My boyfriend of 2.5 years and I just broke up a week ago. This was completely out of the blue and I wasn't expecting it. At first it was mutual just because I was overly emotional and thought it would be best for a little. But after reflecting and all the things, I fully believe this shouldn't have happened. He thinks he needs to be alone and figure his stuff out, in parentheses, because he's never really been alone in his adult life. But I think he's just confused and stressed. We've lived together for over a year, have 2 animals together, and just a whole life together. Money has definitely become a stressor in our relationship and can't help but think that's the reason this whole thing came about. We have had a beautiful, healthy relationship. He's truly my bestest friend in the whole world. How do I get him back? I know you don't really believe in right person, wrong time, but I feel so deeply into my soul that he's my person. Nothing about this breakup feels right. He's been so kind and respectful throughout this process. Do I give him space, go no contact for a bit, and give him time to miss me? I don't know what to do, but all I know is he's my favorite person in the world and fully believe he's my forever. Help. And then she goes at the bottom, P.S. We lived in a whole other state together because he plays pro rugby there and I now have to move back to my hometown. Girl, I feel for you. I love you. You're going to be okay. And I'm going to give advice, and I'm going to give advice that you guys wouldn't normally hear from me, but I do think let's get into a little bit. If you do think that you want him back and that is like the thing and you're meant to be together, you still need to go no contact. That is just that. Look up no contact on YouTube and you'll find plenty of videos about like getting your partner back and all of this, which I think is like not good. I do believe though, somebody asked me this actually in live yesterday, that like, for example, when I was going through a hard breakup in my life, I told myself that we would get back together. Like an ounce, I was not reaching out. I was no contact 100%, but like it helped me get through like the first few weeks. I'm like, okay, this is all going to work out. Like when I would spiral, I'm like, nope, we're going to end up together, just like not right now. And it would help me get through it. And then you get to this stage in the breakup where you're fucking pissed. And for me, that took like a month. And I was like, oh, fuck that guy. Then I blocked. Then I did all of the things. I was like, I do not want that. So I think that there can be a little bit of power, but that's where girls take it too far. If you're delusional, if you like, you know, are contacting them and all of this. But truly, to like anybody that's in the depths of a breakup, if you want that person back, okay, I'm not here to harsh your mellow and be like, it's not meant to be. Okay, you know how I feel on everything. All of you know my thoughts and opinions, which is why I think it's so funny that you guys ask, because a lot of you know what I'm going to say. But I will say that still going no contact, that will give him the space to like come to, and just like both of you to reflect. Like I think regardless of what happened, regardless of how healthy or toxic a relationship is, whatever was not working, whether it is money, like that is a real life stress. Okay, but like still the breakup happened. Something wasn't working. He feels like he needs space. Whatever the thing is, even if you were the one to break up with him, I'm talking to other people. No contact, like completely breaking apart. Like it's already happening whether you want it or not. So communicating with that person is only going to further hinder things. Like he obviously is like going through something. So like just give the man space and give yourself space. Like it goes both ways. So whatever your MO is, if you want to get back together, if you don't, like you just need time apart. You haven't been apart from this person ever. So you're moving back to your home state, which it's a lot. Like you're sad about the breakup, you're spiraling, your emotions are crazy. Like it's already a whirlwind. Your life just got flipped on its head, but going no contact, like in the moment, it sucks. It fucking sucks. But in a couple weeks, like you'll start to gain more clarity and you'll get better and you'll start figuring it out. But literally in the short term, it feels good to talk to your partner, but it only makes it so much harder and so much messier. Like it just is a weird thing when you're broken up, but you're thinking about getting back together. Oh my gosh, you guys, on the reunion of The Ultimatum, sorry, I knew it started with a U. The Ultimatum, there was a couple who left the show not together, but they were asking them a year later, like what happened? And they were kind of seeing each other, but not, but there wasn't a label and she was trying to get clarity and it just is fucking messy and it drags out and out and out. Just like go no contact, take a break. Okay. It's best for both of you. And honestly, if you want, oh my gosh, the first time I went through a breakup with the guy that I was with 2 separate times, the first time, you guys, I went no contact immediately. I'm telling you, on day 30, that man reached out and wanted to get back together. So like it really works, because I think, yes, you need that separation, but then I think it's also like separation anxiety. And what happened for us is we then talked for a while. We started hanging out. He still was a goddamn fucking mess because it had only been a month. And I said, okay, I've got to go. I have more respect for myself than to like half-ass get back when you're like not in it. But you have to go no contact for both of you to like just get a fucking break. So if I could just give you wholehearted, I'm not going to try and convince you that that's not your person. If you believe that, that's fine. Pop off. But your best bet is to not communicate with that person. You don't necessarily need to block, but like if he reaches out to you or you have a hard time, like I would say block if you have to do that, just to like restrain yourself or them. But just take a second. Okay. And it'll help you move on and get easier. And not if you don't fully want to move on, whatever, but it's just like what you both need in the moment. So that's just like my honest and real advice. I can't tell you if you're soulmates. I can't tell you, because there are exceptions to that rule. I know people who have, you know, dated and then broken up and gone back together. Of course, like I don't think it's typically a good thing. I think sometimes it's wonderful and it's totally fine and it works out, but I don't want to get somebody's hopes up either. Like, here's like the real Brenna advice. You said that money has definitely become a stressor. Regardless, like if that was your person and he wanted to make it work, it could be made to work. Right? Like money stress is a hard thing, but like you guys could have figured that out together. So I feel like there is a lot going on with him. He is stressed. Like, I don't know if him like wanting to be alone, that's a valid thing. Like clearly he's feeling some sort of like uncertainty. So let him figure that out. Let him go do that. Like that's all you can do. If you sit there and try and beg him and like do this and that to get him to stay or want you back, like you're only going to push him farther and you're only going to like what? So if you actually successfully convinced him, because that's what it would be, you're convincing him, like you want him to 100% be there. So the only way to like get that answer is to like let him go, let him be, and then let him come back. Like truly, if what's the phrase? They love you, let them go. If they come back, it's like, what the fuck ever. It's like a cliche, but it's true. You're never going to like, the more you try and squeeze and hold tight of something, the more they want to run away. Like that is just a natural reaction. So my best piece of advice, move back, go no contact, and it'll all work out. And I think in a couple weeks, in a couple months, like it'll all kind of hit, and you'll like, your emotions in like the first weeks after a breakup are like so crazy and just so spiral. Like it's just natural. We cannot even think clearly for a second. So just give yourself that time. And like, you still might want him after, you might not. That's, I don't know, but just give yourself the time. So that's my honest and real advice. Okay, moving right along. So let me find this message. I did my Ask Me Anything on Tuesday, and a girl had left in there. She said, how was it worded? She said like, how do I be a best friend, or like a girl best friend? The wording kind of tripped me up, but like basically, bitch, spit it out. Her best friend is dating a guy that she hooked up with. She's like, how do I be a good best friend to, my best friend or this girl when I have hooked up with her now boyfriend? And here's the thing. I texted her privately or messaged her, and I said, I'm going to need more info. And this is what I want to dive into, because this is something that is so like, it totally depends on the dynamics. Are you 20 years old? Are you 30 years old? Was this a hookup when you were 20 and it was a one night stand, and now you're 30 and it's like her soulmate? Is this a guy she's just casually dating? Is this the love of her life? Have you told her? Have you not told her? Like, what are the dynamics? I was like, give it to me. So that's what we're going to go into. She said, Part 1. So he's my neighbor. We met this year when I moved across the hall from him in our building at university. He knocked on my door, and we realized we are from the same hometown, know similar people, same major, same classes, same goals, etc. Like all the good things. We got close instantly, but in a friend way. Slowly, I started to fancy him. Oh my gosh, I love that. Fancy him. But nothing crazy. We sat together in class every other day and walked home together after class. We started having a little flirty banter in all of our talks, and there was a few times at the beginning where he would point out that I looked good, or would go over to his apartment to study. She put in parentheses, actually study, but would have like PJs on since it was across the hall. And let's just say they weren't grandma PJs. LMAO. Okay, so like she's flirty, there's banter, there's definitely like, yeah, naturally when you spend a lot of time with somebody, this is how like coworker crushes happen. Like when you spend time with somebody and like even, you get blinded and like flirty things happen, like it just kind of happens. Anyways, we had a conversation once about how we were neighbors and he couldn't do anything physical with me, even though he wanted to really bad. Oh, okay, interesting. This was all before he really started talking to the girl he's seeing now. Got it. Okay, so I don't know what the time frame is. I think they still are neighbors, so that's part 1. Now we have part 2. Funny thing is, they met a year ago, dated for a little bit, or were exclusive, and then she found out he had pictures of other girls on his phone, and she broke it off with him and got really upset. Okay. Then they were not on good terms for a while before slowly talking again. This is when I met him. Oh, I got it. Okay. All of the things in part 1, this is when they happened. Going over to his place, having combos about how we can't do anything, and us both wanting to though. Then a little time goes by and he ends up kissing me after we studied one night. From then on, our banter got more suggestive and he ended up feeling me up one night. Like 2 days later, we ended up sleeping together in between studying at like 2 p.m. Crazy thing is, that night he went to see this other girl, his now basically GF, and slept with her. Bad on him, I know. Okay. So basically, sorry, I'm like reading this and like the periods are kind of all over the place. So this all thing happened that very night. He went over to her place. So like they're in like this toxic thing. They had dated. She found photos on his phone. They break up. This happens, but he's still like something's going on. Okay. Got it. A few days later, we had a few drinks and ended up sleeping together again. Next day, studied and it happened again, but this time I stayed the night. Okay. This is like so messy college. Part 3. I stayed the night one of the next days too. It actually gets crazier when he tells me this other girl had stayed the night at his place and went through his phone and found out he had slept with another girl before he slept with me and completely blocked him. Which is crazy because he told me the day before he was going to cut things off with her because he wasn't fully attracted to her and he thought he could do better. Such a man thing to say, she said in parentheses. Anyways, they are not on speaking terms for a while, but slowly he starts to talk to her again, saying he wants to be a better man for her and that he still wants her, etc., etc. In between all this, though, he feels me up at the bars, makes flirty banter with me, and even made out with me again one night. And after that, he said to me something like how he met her first, so he has to give her the first priority to see if things work out, but if he didn't, that he would go all in on me. Ew, 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 ew. You need to just drop this, loser. But I digress. Let's keep going. Part 4. Oh my gosh, this is so long. Okay. Now, let me tell you that messed with my head for a while. Well, totally. Well, clearly you like this guy, but clearly he's a shitty dude. I get it. This is like, again, so classic university. Now, moving up to present day, basically, they're essentially dating. I don't know if he's officially asked her out yet, and he's made it clear to me that he doesn't want me to have feelings for him. I might have at one point. I honestly don't know. Yeah, I feel like you might have just been caught up in, like, it's fun. It was like a fling. Sure, whatever. Okay. I think about him a lot, but we are genuinely so close now, so it's hard to tell what's friendship and what's not. Oh, is he your friend that was... Oh, it's clicking to me now. I wish I could find, okay, maybe it says in here what her story said. Oh, now it's clicking. Wait. Let me find her. She was saying how to be a good girl best friend to this guy. Oh, I was thinking this was something totally different, which I'm still glad we're talking about it. But I thought that she was like, her best friend was now dating a guy that she hooked up with. But no, she's just friends with this guy that she's hooked up with. But she's trying to be a girl's girl. Oh, okay. Now that makes so much more sense. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so sorry. Am I confused? Yes. Not anymore. We're caught up. Okay. I don't know if he's officially asked her yet, but he's made it clear to me that he doesn't want me to have feelings for him. I might have at one point. I honestly don't know. I think about him a lot, but we are genuinely so close now, so it's hard to tell what's friendship and what's not. We promised each other we wouldn't tell anyone we ever did anything, which I plan to stick to. We've talked about it before, and he's not going to tell her we did anything because she already got pissed once on him that we went to the casino together in our hometown when we both happened to be home for a week during the semester. I also know that he lied to her about how we knew each other and said nothing happened between us. I haven't met her yet, but in the new year, I'm like 99% sure I'm going to. He asked if I was going to be weird when I did, and I was like, no, but the whole time I know I will be thinking about how she doesn't know. He says he loves her, so I know there's like 0.000000001% chance we will ever do anything again. But I guess this all leads to my question: how do I act normal? How do I talk to her? How do I be friends with this girl when I know a hell of a lot that she doesn't know, and that I know her BF has lied to her in the past? I'm a girl's girl too, which makes this even more difficult. So that was long, but that's basically the whole story up to now. And yes, of course, you can talk about it on the pod. Okay, perfect. Okay. She gave me an update though. So this was quite literally yesterday morning. Yesterday at 1:26, she said, update from literally today. We are studying together back in our hometown, and I literally watched him text a lie to this girl that I had left already. And he was alone, knowing we were about to get lunch together too. Well, here's the thing. Okay, I have so many thoughts. This guy sucks. And how important is this friendship, to be honest? Like, it's just a gross, weird feeling, and I get he's your friend, and I get you really like him, and there are probably lingering feelings, even if you believe it or not, like, clearly. Because here's the thing, I think he's gross. I think what he's doing, like lying to her, but I also understand college. Like, again, we're not talking about a very emotionally mature man. Like, you guys are in college, so you're obviously like 18 to 22. So I get it. So I'm trying to like go to that mindset. Yeah, well, it is going to be awkward. Like, that would just be weird that she doesn't know and he's lied to her. Like, I wouldn't want to meet that girl, but I also like... it's going to end poorly. They're obviously going to break up at some point. I I don't know. This whole thing is just messy. This is not what I thought going into this, but I love it. I love the juicy confession. So if anybody, email me at hello@brennaberg.com. Okay, if you have more confessions, questions for next pods, because I love this shit. Okay, what would I do? Well, here's the thing. They're in a relationship. His priority should be her. The fact that you guys hang out one-on-one is not on your side, but his. It's gross. Like, if I were with a man, or a boy, I should say, who like, and number one, he's lying to her that like you're studying together. So like, it's just bad all around. Like, number one, I wouldn't like being you, because like, why is he lying to her? But it's because he's lied to her in the past. He just shouldn't be hanging out with you one-on-one. Those are my real beliefs. Like, he clearly is just kind of like a tool and a player. Obviously, if she found photos on his phone before and like he's doing all of this slimy shit and he hooks up with everybody, like, he's just gross. Honestly, what I would do is distance myself from him. Like, what is the friendship really that groundbreaking? I don't know. I think you're probably just caught up in the things. If you want to be his friend, I don't know. You're just never going to feel good. It all just feels gross for her, for him. Like, I just don't feel good about the situation. That sucks that he's treating her that way and lying. Like, even if you guys hooked up, like if he would have told her the truth, well, the reason he didn't tell her the truth is because he knows that she wouldn't be cool with it. Because what girl, like, think about yourself. If you were a girl dating a guy and he was like, number one, lying to you about just like hanging out one-on-one with a girl, and then also he's hooked up with that girl before, you don't know it though because he lied to you, like, it's all just gross. I don't think he's a good human being, and therefore I wouldn't be friends with him. If you do continue to hang out with him, like, just try and be as normal as you can around this girl. Like, hopefully you'll be in a group setting. So just like talk to other people. Like, obviously don't be hanging out around him. It's going to be obvious. I feel like she has to know, or once she's in the room with you, like, girls have an intuition of knowing. So just know, like, you might get called on it. So maybe avoid that situation. It's all going to come out at some point. They're going to like break up, or it's going to get brought to the forefront in some way. So whatever, if you want to keep hanging out with him, keep hanging out with him. But just like, to me, men friendships are like not that important. You can be friends with any guy. Like, I love my guy best friends, but like, respectively, when they get into a relationship, when I get into a relationship, you just distance yourself, because it just is this weird thing. Like, we can talk about certain things and catch up, but like hanging out one-on-one, you guys know how I feel. I'm a firm believer. Like, that's just weird, especially when you've hooked up, and it just feels gross. Like, being that girl, being you, just can't feel good. I would feel nervous. It would change my views of that man. But I understand you're in university, so it's like such a weird place. Those are my thoughts. I don't have, like, you're just going to have to act as normal as you can or stay away from the girl. But I personally would distance myself from that man. Like, there are plenty of other people. You have other friends. You can make other friends. Like, it's just weird. You're going to run into him at the hall or whatever, like across the, hall from each other and on campus and things. But oh yeah, that's all weird. Be kind to that girl. Like, she obviously has no idea. Feel for her. Yeah, just be a normal human being. Honestly, I would tell him to like, the thing is, that relationship is going to fizzle out on its own. Like, I'm a firm believer of what's meant to be will be. Like, that it can never work out. That's not, he wouldn't treat her that way and lie to her and do all of this if like that was the love of his life. And again, you're in college, so you don't really know these things until you're older, but like, just let that pan out how it's going to pan out, or tell him to like fess up, but then you're going to have to distance yourself. So if you want to be the girl that he lies to his girlfriend about, like, that's just ew. Who wants to be that? I don't. So I would just like, again, for the 100th time, distance myself. That's my advice. I'll message you, but oh my gosh. Yeah, that's so college. And so like, he sounds like a douchebag. He is a douchebag from what you just told me. That's my final say. I love you guys so much. That's all I have. Email me, hello@brennaberg.com. Any feedback, questions, stories like this. I love it. Thank you for trusting me with your situations. You guys are the best. I hope you have the best Christmas. You might listen to this before, you might listen to it after. I hope it's wonderful, and I hope if it happened, it was wonderful. And next week we'll be talking about New Year's resolutions. Okay, that's all. Bye guys.